Sarah Silverman comes clean about lying to highlight gender pay gap. She fucking lied in that thing?
What?
I just thought she was wrong. What does that mean she comes clean about lying about it? What? Did you see that thing?
No. What
so they're talking about the gender gap, the pay gap in gender, which, by the way, is based on overall income and not based on women get paid less per job. It's just because there's more female teachers and more male CEOs. But it's not if there's two teachers, they both get paid the same amount. That's not a real thing. The 75 cents on the dollar.
Really?
Yeah, that's overall pay for all jobs.
And that is one of those parroted
social workers
things.
Are predominantly more women than men. Mm-hmm. Nurses are predominantly more women than men.
Are you trying to say there's not a problem with the gender gap disparity of
that
wages?
Thing they quote is wrong. I'll tell you that.
Saying? Sarah Silverman lied?
So she went on and said, I did a set once. I wish I could play that. I did a show, and this guy, Al Martin, she named him by name. She goes, Al Martin, me and Todd Barry were both at the same level of fame. You want to play this? We're both at the same level of fame. Yeah, just play it. It just shows a lack of understanding about the New York comedy scene.
The club owner, whoever, the employer that she was talking about, came out and said that's bullshit.
Well, explain what she said.
We're looking for the clip.
She goes, we're both at the same level of fame. I did a spot, then he did a spot. He went on right after me. 15 minutes, 15 minutes. And afterwards, we're out there talking. He goes, oh, yeah, cool. I got my $60. She goes, 60. I got 10. And she goes, it's just ridiculous. And then I went back in to talk to Al Martin, and he goes, well, if you wanted a $60 spot, I would give you one. She goes, it's ridiculous that women won't get paid the same amount of men. I'm like, no. Just club owners they're just cheap. And some spots they pay, and some spots they call guest spots. Some spots they pay headliner status, some spots are openers. MCs make a different amount too. And it's just like, if you got paid 10, that's because you said you were willing to, at LOL, when I have to work out a story, I'm like, I'll take one of your free spots. Otherwise, they won't give me a free spot.
Right.
They'll only give me a $20 spot. Go ahead, play it out loud.
And we were outside talking, and Todd somehow brought up that he, mentioned that he got $60. He just got $60, and I just got $10. We did the exact same time, back to back, on the same show. And so I went back inside, and I asked the owner, Al Martin, and I said, Al, why did you pay me $10 and you gave Todd Barry $60? And he, it was so perfect, because he goes, oh, did you want a $60 spot? It was symbolic. I didn't need $60. I mean, but it's...
What is this fucking music?
Yeah, it's pretty shitty. I think the best person for the job should get jobs.
But now that I see it, I wonder if she was even talking about the gender gap, or she was just talking about have you ever made less money than someone.
And then they just kind of took the clip.
Because they did cut it right after that. Yeah, and they make it seem like she was talking about that. But she said she was lying about it.
Yeah, but that didn't even seem like she was talking about gender right there. She could have easily not been talking about gender.
Sarah Silverman admitted that a story she told about wage discrimination, in which she went so far as to call it a specific employer by name, was a lie, and then said people who might consider her lie a reason to question the movement she was supporting were maniacs.
What? Wait a minute.
Oh, so she's saying that that's a lie. The story's not true.
She just made the story up?
That's weird.
The story didn't even happen?
What?
See, I just thought it was like, oh, you just don't know. I've only been here for 2 years, but I know that comedy club owners are trying to get out of paying their comics. It's nothing to do with men and women.
That's bizarre.
But the whole thing was a lie.
That's a bizarre lie.
Because why would you bring up two guys' names that people know in comedy, and then just make a story up we
can talk to Todd Barry and see if that's true. And Al Martin's still booking Broadway Comedy Club.
Is it possible that there's a medication that people get on that just makes them ramble and they just can't stop talking, and then the story comes out and they go, "Fuck! Now I have to fucking justify that somehow or another." Is there a medication that makes you just ramble like that?
She said it was a lie.
She said, my regret is that I mentioned Al by name. It should have been a nameless, faceless anecdote, and he has always been lovely to me. She said, this is also hardly an example of the wage gap and can only do that very true reality a terrible disservice if I were trying to make it one. When I was interviewed by Levo, they asked me, do you remember a time when you were paid less for the same job? And this story being just that popped into my head.
Yeah, that's what I said. So they took it out of context and just fucking changed it to make it seem like she was saying it's a male-woman thing.
But she was talking about a male-woman thing. Do you remember a time where you're paid less for the same job because you're a woman is implied in that?
Yeah, but
about the wage gap. So that is what she was saying.
But I could see them going, do you remember a time you were paid less for the same job than someone else? And she goes, okay, how about this? And they put it in a story about the wage gap.
Yeah, but I think they were talking about the wage gap. Like, that's what they were talking about when they were...
Right, like what would be the purpose of her being interviewed if not about the wage gap?
Right.
I mean, that was the subject. But here's the thing. The story popped into her head. Like, what does that mean? If it's a made-up story...
Yeah, what's the lying part?
Yeah.
Because that's what she said in the beginning, that it was a lie.
What the fuck, man? Imagine being that guy and you have to hear that. Like,
Martin, I heard he was real upset and he had to take out get a publicist. I'm like, I didn't fucking not pay women. Don't say that.
He posted something about it.
All the comics are like saying like they're taking his side. They're like talking like, yeah, I'm a dirtbag, but not that kind of dirtbag. I just abuse comedians in general.
Who is that guy?
He works Broadway Comedy Club. I've never worked there. I don't know. I don't really know. I've never met him.
So I wonder if it was a lie or if she just said it's a lie just to shut him up.
Yeah, just to be like,
down.
I don't want to take any responsibility for any of it. Fine, the whole thing was a lie. Just leave me alone.
Right.
And the problem is when you say something's a lie and it's that, like, whoa, you lied about that?
Right. It calls everything into question.
Do you lie, like, is this like a normal thing you do? Does it like pop into your head every now and then, a different story than the truth, and you just start saying it? You don't even know why?
Because that's a weird, unnecessary
what do you mean
lie.
it was a lie?
Yeah. That names names of people who people know.
Todd Barry in particular.
Right, everybody knows who Todd Barry is.
Have you ever heard about a chick getting paid less to do a set at a club, though? I've never heard that anywhere. Unless it's like, there's the difference between some headliners, like one headliner who makes a lot more money because they sell out every weekend.
Yeah, but as features, let's get paid $100 a set. Generally, that's a deal. $100 a set for features on the road.
If the club employs you.
Yeah, but if the club employs, yeah, exactly. But that's a standard. But that's not. There's no different. Nobody paid less or more than for that. It's everyone gets 100.
Yeah, you might find someone who really doesn't deserve the spot, and the club owner gives you a shot and says, "I'll give you $75 a set." But that's status. It's
just
not
if you make feature, you get 100. That's just the deal. That's just the deal.
But not in all places. But I mean, they reserve the right to pay you less if, like, maybe this is your first time featuring or something like that. Like, some clubs will do it. What's he doing? What are you doing?
Hold on, I got one more plan.
One more plan. All right.
My God.
Ari's going to get arrested.
Yeah, he's going to go down and not come back.
This is not working at all.
No, I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
The fuck? He's trying.
Yeah, he is.
I just thought this Sarah Silverman thing really perplexes me.
Yeah, I wish you would get more into detail about what was the lying part.
Well, what did she say as far as like a statement? Like when it says Silverman lied or admitted she lied, like what are they saying?
Because it's one thing if she says, oh, I remembered it incorrectly, or oh, in hindsight, I guess I was getting $10 because I was new, or whatever it is, but not just to lie.
What's going on?
Lie. I would like to see what she said. The problem is, it's all just news stories. You don't really know what the fucking story is.
Right.
Well, that's
admits lie.
If you say that you lied about that,
I don't know what they really asked her.
That's such a non-issue. It really calls into question.
Yeah,
like, what would happen if there was like a serious issue?
That's like a pathological liar
to win your point or win your an argument for your cause is like
to just make up a story.
Yeah, but then you haven't won your. It's false pretense.
But the way she said that story just popped into my head. Like,
all I can say is I remember that story exactly how I said it. I know that Tad called the club earlier in the day to let them know I was in town to see if they wanted me to do a set. They put me up for a 15-minute spot just after Todd's 15-minute spot. I didn't expect to get paid. That's not why I was there. But when I got off stage, Al, the sweet club owner, paid me $10, and I signed the payment sheet. I was like, oh, nice. I inferred from that this was also a paid spot, not a guest spot. Either way, I should have been fine.
I would have been
fine. Then when Todd pointed out that he received $60 for the same spot, I went back in and asked Al why Todd got $60 and I got 10. That's when he certainly could have said, because it was a guest spot, Sarah. I was just being super nice and I gave you $10 for cab money. But instead, and I will always remember this exactly how he said it because it was unbelievably hilarious. He said, oh, did you want a $60 spot?
Well, that would mean, if he's saying that, in my interpretation, that, oh, did you want a scheduled spot? Because there's a difference between a guest spot and a scheduled spot. I mean, that's just a fact of clubs. And some clubs put on guest spots, and like, say if you pop in at the Comedy Store, like if you do a regular spot, what do you get there for the OR?
$15 for the
$15.
OR. Jesus Christ.
It's hilarious, isn't it? Does it hurt your feelings? When you say it, it hurts your feelings. That's why I never cashed my checks. I was like, I'm not even cashing that. Fuck you. But
so like when you say
hold on to them.
like $15 is.
Well, here's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
If Ari shows up and he says, "Hey guys, I'd like to do a guest set," he doesn't get that $15. He doesn't get paid because he's not on the list. He's not.
Right.
He's not like scheduled to perform. He's doing a pop in, and if you're doing a pop in, you don't get paid. So it seems like that's what Todd Barry did. He called up.
Yeah,
like the
what she
day
said. It was a
of.
guest spot, and he was like, "Give her $10." And if he had said, but he didn't say it. So you can't analyze the whole situation because he didn't say it exactly. He didn't explain it to you exactly right.
Yeah, it's very disingenuous because knowing the club scene and knowing like how sets are paid out, that's just the way it is. You don't usually get paid for a guest set. So what she got was cab fare. Someone was being nice. That's all it was.
That's all it was.
And it got turned into this gender inequality gap issue.
This guy went from being a nice dude and doing the right thing to being a misogynist.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? The gender inequality thing is a very, very interesting thing. You know, I have that bit about the guy who broke into the White House. And part of it has to do with the female security guard that was redacted from the Washington Post. The Washington Post printed out that the guy who overpowered the female security guard at the front door of the White House, and then it became a big issue with feminists. They wanted him to take out, or they wanted the person who wrote the article to take out the word woman security guard, like it's because it's not relevant. Well, of course it's relevant. Mm-hmm. You've got a woman as a guard. That's a controversial position. Just like a woman as a wide receiver would be a controversial position.
Yeah, if she keeps dropping passes, you'd be like, can we bring up gender here? She's the only one.
Every time she gets tackled,
her hands.
She breaks both her ankles. she plays one game a year.
It's the first opening day of the NFL, and what's so historic as this woman. No, the first play of the game. She's out for the year.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's a gender inequality issue, Ari Shaffir. You don't understand.
Gender inequality.
Yeah.
Well, thank God Sarah Silverman wasn't black, or it would have even been worse than for Al Martin.
Crazy. Yeah. That's such a weird example.
So she wasn't lying.
No, she should definitely shouldn't say.
So wait, she wasn't lying then?
That say, she said she admits she lied. That's not true at all.
She admits she was wrong.
Right, I was
Being
wrong.
wrong and lying are
but she's not
real
even
different.
saying she admits she's wrong. She's saying she's telling the story exactly how she remembers it. So I don't think it's a lie at all.
She might be saying, though, this is probably not an issue of gender.
Well, is she? Because she said she was laughing at his statement, "Oh, did you want a $60 spot?" That's disingenuous too, because we know the difference. You know what's going on.
Like a person who's not in comedy would find that statement funny, but comedians, you're saying, understand exactly what he was saying.
Exactly. Anyone who works in comedy clubs knows exactly what the difference is.
Also, if Todd was on last, that means she was eating checks. She was doing the check spot. Which is, they don't have that in LA, which is, they drop the checks, but and I used to be at stand up New York, they would have like a break. Mm-hmm. While they drop the checks, everyone paid, go to the bathroom, and then Big J or whoever would go on last. And then now they're like, well, if some young guy wants to eat the checks, while everybody's paying their bills.
Right.
To actually go do stand up, it's like, fuck, go do it.
There's always spots that pay more or less. I've middled for friends before, and when I was headlining, someone would say, "Hey man, you want to call?" I middled for Brian Callen in Washington D.C. like 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah. He was, he goes, "You want to work with me?" Because I was in town doing that Joe Rogan Questions Everything thing.
So
and just happened to be there, so I featured. It's like, it's fun. Yeah, guess what? You get paid less when you do that.
Right.
You got paid more than me.
Right.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
gender inequality. Oh, they're both men. Okay, forget it.
Well, I don't know. There's issues with sexism for sure, but
there are. But at the same time, you can't push everything into that hole.
It discredits the real stuff when you start bringing up fake shit.
Well, let's talk about the real stuff, because I didn't know that. I never looked into it that much, so I didn't know that it's an overall.
The 75 cents on a dollar is one of the most misquoted parts of the argument. That's not. It's just like you're putting Bill Gates and teachers in a fucking pool and say, how much do men make? How much do women make?
Well, more men are CEOs. More men are
top level athletes.
Mm-hmm, more men are also more like hyper ambitious and career driven. It's not to negate that some women are.
And it's like men golfers, female golfers. Like, well, male golfers make more because they actually have more people watching male golf on TV.
Same with every sport, really. So, basketball, whatever it is.
And same as radio. If you or TV, if your thing gets more ratings, you get more money.
Right.
You get renewed for a higher contract. It doesn't matter
Winfrey
how.
makes more than anybody.
Sure. So
Oprah
she
Winfrey
helps
makes-
skew it to more even.
Yeah, I mean, she makes more than any talk show host.
Well, yeah, by
Ever.
a lot.
Yeah, and she's a chick.
Okay, here it is. In 2013, among full-time year-round workers, women were paid 78% of what men were paid. But that is among full-time year-round workers. That is not people in the same jobs or people in the same careers. That's just full-time workers.
So that's taking into account all the secretaries that work in the same as engineers, that work in the
Nurses,
same office.
social workers, teachers. It's taking all that. And
So
garbage man.
That's very deceptive.
Super deceptive.
But
Stats just lie.
But we'll look into it and in specific jobs, like look into a gender inequality gap in specific occupations. So you could see, taxi cab drivers or surgeons or, whatever.
That would be a major issue. If you're like, what do you mean? Why do I get paid less for doing the same job? It's like, well, you're not.